Okay, it looks like we're live now. Good evening, everyone. So this is round two, match two for Gameaholic versus Link Hero of Time 64. I am Starisms, and I'm joined with by Darkrid on commentary today. How are you doing, Dark?
I'm doing quite alright. How about you, Stars?
Really excited for this race. I was watching Link do some practice just before the stream went live, and seeing some of the tricks he might expect himself to pull off.
Yeah, it's gonna be quite the interesting matchup, because I do know that Gameaholic is an RBO runner, so he does know some very interesting tech in Lower Norfair.
RBO is a really tough category. I I'm hesitant to even think about trying that one. I believe we have Pizza on tracking today and Mithra on the restream. There's been a few delays. This match was supposed to start at 3, but life happens and things don't always go as planned. So it looks like they're off in the SRL, so it'll just be a few moments on the restream here.
And there we go.
So what does everyone in chat like to find early? You know, one of the first non-morph items. What do you like to find first, Ark?
Ice, normally. Just because I hate Iceless Turian.
Yeah, I could see that. I always like to look for ice, even if I don't. If I find everything else, I'll still check little things for ice because of those Metroids. But I really like to find Wave Beam as one of the first few early items because of how useful it is to shoot through walls or hit. A lot of things will die faster in one hit to Wave Beam that don't die to some of the other beams.
Yeah, I believe Wave is the second strongest beam, if I was told correctly, right before
Hmm.
Plasma. Oh
Ooh,
no,
space
that's
jump.
a disgusting start. Well, I always find Space Jump to be the most foreboding, even though it has very useful movement options. It really makes it annoying to do everything else.
Shoot, in the race I ran yesterday, I would have much preferred to find that early than high jump boots because I had so much trouble getting up into Gauntlet.
Yeah, Gauntlet's not fun to do with high jump. Oh, and they both went for the first setup for the D boost.
Yeah, I was watching Link practice that D boost actually a few minutes ago, and I noticed that he was facing left for the D boost a lot of the times in the practicing, which is which seems counterintuitive to me because I've always learned to do it facing right so that it knocks you left and up into the item.
Oh, heck. Speaking of beams, there's a plasma beam.
Wow, plasma. That is definitely the strongest single beam. So it looks like Bomb Terizo is holding progression then for this. It'll either be bombs or power bombs, I believe. I guess it could
Yeah,
also be maybe screw attack or speed booster if you're playing some of the other randomizer logics. But I'm not sure about this one.
you know, I've actually been curious about that. What would. Oh, well, now actually, yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah, okay, because Alcatraz is not in logic. So it would
No,
have to be a
yeah,
bomb to get out. And that's the only thing they can check now.
that is correct. I actually never realized that. Yeah, it's because of Alcatraz that it can't be screw attack.
my first foray into Super Metroid randos with the old Desirect randomizer. And that one doesn't give you nearly as much soft lock protection and prevention as they do in the randomizers today.
Yeah, that was the one I started with because I spent 5 hours learning Alcatraz because of that. And then promptly 3 hours on a mock ball, which that run took a total of like 12 hours. But it was finished in that day.
Well, you will, you learn those tricks because of it, I'm sure.
Yep, I can first try Alcatraz now, with even high jump boots too. And that one's still annoying.
With high jump boots is impressive. And there we are, power bombs.
Thank God it's power bombs, because no one wants to fight Bomb Teresa.
So with Space Jump, that does, I think, let them have Gauntlet access now. However, I would be hesitant with the lack of suits and the lack of E-tanks this early on already. The asset up there will drain your health very quickly.
Well, I would actually be more worried about not having the power bombs for it, because you can check the first item, but you can't get out nor continue through.
That's a fair point as well. And it looks like Gameaholic is going to be skipping the 230 missile check.
Not a bad decision, because he probably wants to check everything down here, and you do need a power bomb to check meme route and everything else before just supers it old mother brain. But he
Looks
did
like we're
save
getting
up, so he might just reset if none of this is good.
It looks like we are getting some route divergence with this too, so...
Oh, and he's also doing my favorite decision. Deciding to check tower supers early.
That is something I have learned to do with the rat logic specifically.
The chances of it ever having something have been slim to never for me. But when it does, it's usually gravity suit.
I feel like my personal experience would be very similar on that. I don't think I've ever, outside of the rat randos, seen anything important there. But in the rat randos, I have seen gravity there. I have seen space jump there. I can't remember what else, but there's been some really useful items there.
Yeah, only on occasion it'll happen. Like having some issues with high jumpless space jump, probably one of the worst items. It's the main reason I hate.
Space jump is very finicky, and without high jump, it's really hard to gain height.
So you better be careful. Everything in here hurts, and all this for a missile too.
Yeah, it looks like he saved beforehand, so he can reset. So it looks like Terminator will be the next check we get to see here, and hopefully we'll get to see the back end of Gauntlet as well. Just regular old missiles at the Terminator. Yeah, it looks like we're gonna get to see a back end Gauntlet check. Looks like it's a Meridia special, as I like to call them. One missile, one super missile.
A Meridia special, I like that. They're even in the right spots too.
Yeah, because Meridia is the only place that I can think of where you get both a missile pack and a super missile pack right next to each other. And you get it twice. So All right, game is going to do the mock ball for the early supers. First try. Not surprising from either of these runners that we'll see the mock ball first try.
Probably the only trick that I do weirder than most people, actually. I cannot do it if I have a spring ball.
Spring ball makes mock balls very difficult.
Well, for most you let go of A. For me, I have to hold A after I've landed.
Yeah, there's a very specific window, I think, on because in order for the mock balls to work when you have spring ball, you still have to hold jump until you land, and then you have a small window where you can let go without getting the jump. If I understand the mechanics of it correctly. Wow, gravity suit at the early super location. That
And that's where I make my call, Varia at wreck ship. I have made that call every time spaceship is early and a suit is early. The other suit's at wreck ship.
looks like we'll be seeing our favorite item fanfare singers on screen here in a moment. Link is going to be leaving the Brinstar Reserve Room here in a moment, sometimes called Ron Popeil, because of the two rooms in the back. It's similar to Billy Mays. And he'll be getting his gravity suit up there. It's always weird to find a suit so early because it opens up a lot more. I didn't see what was behind the super door in the Edekun's area.
I believe that was another pack of missiles.
So unfortunately, just ammo down below, but useful to find a bunch of ammo early.
Oh, and Gameaholic getting the short hop mock ball out. Granted, it does not actually have to be a short hop. That I found out recently. You can do it with a full hop if you go slow enough to land just on the platform.
Yeah, in either case, that mock ball's a very tight window of performance to get it and get out without falling all the way back down the pit, or partially back down the pit.
I mean, my favorite thing to do in that room is left wall jumps, is because that's where I shine the most now. I can't do rights anymore, but my left have completely improved.
I'm really strong with the right side wall jumps. I learned that the hard way early on.
That's how I learned Alcatraz. Right, left, however.
That's interesting. I don't think I've noticed anyone do it without going to the left side.
Well, it was how I originally did it, then I just started doing it differently one day, and it just seemed to come easier, because back then I could not wall jump on the left wall for the life of me. And while we're rambling on, Gameaholic actually did the spore spawn skip excessively quickly. I didn't even notice.
There's so many different positions that I've learned you can be in to get that super block just right. And I've seen 4 or 5 different setups in this tournament alone for that.
I actually recently learned a new one where you barely tap left, where if you see the screen scroll, you can go ahead and set up for it. Because I completely was like, oh, so it's something like this, and then I did it, and I was like, oh, okay. I guess I can do that first try now. But I think that was something Sloters did. Oh, and Gameaholic gets the high jumpless wave gate skip.
That is a nice one to get, of course, because I didn't notice. Is he using Moonfall? That makes the setup for that a bit easier, but it's still a really difficult jump and shoot combination, jumping out of the door.
Yes, he does. And yeah, I'd agree with that, but for me, normally I do the just jump out of the door setup even without high jump. And he did get the dark beam, so that'll help. And no, that is not called the dark beam because of my name. That's actually referencing Metroid Prime 2, because the dark beam acts like the ice beam in that game.
It's been a long time since I've played any of the Prime games. I wouldn't have remembered that if you hadn't said something. But it looks like Link is coming back in between, and he went down to check the charge beam first, probably hoping for wave to make the wave gate easier. That's what I would think. And then going back through and getting the
Yeah, I think I've learned at least 7 different setups for Spore Spawn now. My original one I learned for SMZ3, where I just run, jump, shoot. And for whatever reason, almost every time I did it on an SMZ3 version, I ended up getting it first try. Not trying to brag or anything, but it was just kind of a what moment?
I don't think I've seen that method. Here we're going to get the Green Hills check, and it's super missiles.
And he also gets the Green Hill Zone mock ball too.
Link has found his ice beam at the wave gate location.
Oh, and now I gotta commend him for his routing. Now he just has to hit Billy Mays and then he can leave right back through Meme Route. He never really goes down an elevator, so he completely skips that.
Picking up that reserve tank, and I guess the decision on that would be because they haven't found an E-tank yet. If you don't find E-tanks early, well, most people don't like to pick up the reserve tanks because of the way that they're mechanically used and how they don't automatically refill your energies on pickup. It's obviously a good choice to pick it up, considering there are no E-tanks yet.
Yeah, having no E-tanks, even before, like, say, doing Gauntlet, that reserve might help with that, but he also has gravity, so it's not going to deal that much damage. So we might want to go ahead and get Gauntlet out of the way now that we have a good amount of power bombs. Heck, even enough for Iceless Turian.
Yeah, 15 is the magic number on power bombs, just in case you don't find ice.
Oh hey, speaking of power bombs.
But wait, there's more. And it's another reserve tank.
You know, I wouldn't be too mad about that. That's 2 reserves back here.
Only because there are no energy tanks. Otherwise, I would be very disappointed in that deal, Billy Mays.
Actually, you know, I take that back. 2 reserves and 0 E-tanks is the worst. Because now if you get hit without triggering them yourself, you're gonna lose the other reserve. Which that was something I did not know about until recently.
Would you mind explaining that one for the audience and for me, because I don't know?
You have 1 E-tank, essentially, so your reserves can only fill 100 health. And because of that, it fully empties your reserves.
Oh, ouch. So it'll use if the reserves are full, it'll use all 200 just to refill the 100 health.
That is correct.
That is a raw deal indeed. Link is making his way up to Billy Mays, and we'll find the same items there, of course.
But this is where their route might diverge. Link, having not checked Old Mother Brain nor Tower Climb, he might opt to go up there.
He might, and gosh, it'd be a tough call in his shoes.
I mean, I don't know, like, with 2 reserves, I would still not make the decision to go to Reg Ship. But with Gravity, it's a touchy topic, because it doesn't negate damage by that much, but it might be enough to make me want to go there, because you have Space Jump. You really gotta think if going there for 2 items is worth it, or checking X-ray and whatnot before going there.
Well, they did check the back of Gauntlet, so they know there's no progression there. So that might lean them to not checking Gauntlet this early.
Yeah, but even then, you still have more checks you can do up there. Like, you could go through top of Red Tower now, and while Game's not going to be doing that, he's going to get X-ray out of the way, might head down and kill Kraid, get high jump and whatnot, before heading up Meridia. Well, Link will be at the ship, so he could make the decision, do I feel comfortable fighting Phantoon with no E-Tank?
I don't know. I don't think I'd make that play with no E-Tanks. Even though you do have Gravity Suit, which will help with the flame damage, the lack of E-Tanks in general is what would scare me about it.
Yeah, but the other thing is, he can go down Red Tower 2 from the top and get 3 items before heading down, so that could also make his decision.
You could also check Moat before going down if you went that direction. But it looks like he's going back down into Blue Brand and will probably continue through the Green Hills over to Red Tower from there.
See, I would have probably continued on from the elevator because I had already taken it. Granted, I'd still hate the climb nonetheless. So maybe he's thinking the same thing as Game right now. He's gonna head down that way, check X-ray along the way. But the thing I've noticed is that if you're gonna check X-ray, you might as well head all the way down.
That X-ray check takes a lot of time. I probably wouldn't have done that unless I was out of checks for this logic.
Well, based on the fact that you're gonna run out of checks on the way down after Kraid and high jump boots, if you plan on checking them, you'd really want to save that for either before you do Meridia or after. So chances are you want to do it. And we got supers at the Kraid missile location, is that it?
Yes, that's the Kraid Mitchell location. I've not heard of any creative names for that yet.
Yeah, I always forget what that one's called. And Game is finally turning off the ice beam, which I don't understand why people do. I could save more time with it on.
I turn it off a lot of the times, and it's because most of the time you're going to be firing the same amount of shots to kill things, or you're going to kill them in one shot faster when you don't have ice on. Because ice is going, anytime you could kill something with ice, it's going to freeze it, and that becomes an obstacle, or you have to shoot again in order to kill that enemy and get the drop or get past it.
Well, there's actually a reason behind me not deciding to turn off X-ray. Not X-ray, ice is if I have reserves or not. Oh, and a very nice quick kill on Kraid today by Game. Reserves get in the way because of the auto button. So I'd have to go down an extra movement to turn it off, so as opposed to just clicking A, just turn it off immediately and then going on with my run.
It's very interesting to hear everyone's reasons for the way they play, because some things work so well for other people than they do like for instance, the ice beam works a lot better for you than it does for me, and it's great to this community, this rando specifically is bringing in a lot of different people with a lot of different play styles.
Yeah, I mean, some people don't even break logic.
I still haven't quite put much effort into thinking about the logic and the way it works and what checks I can do based on what I have, because I'm so used to the other randos where it's more about, well, I know I can check this, so I might as well check it because there might be something there.
See, that's why I do a lot of the mock balls and whatnot. Like, for instance, here's a logic thought. Space Jump also puts Kraid in logic, even though he had nothing. Meanwhile, in season races and whatnot, it would not put it. It would be just, oh, do the wall jump and you're good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's our first E-Tank. Sitting at the original E-Tank location.
What are the other two items at high jump? Super missiles, and what's behind the door?
Obviously, more supers. Okay, I'm a wizard apparently.
And even if game wanted to do hell runs, which aren't in logic, it'd be I don't think anyone would actually choose to do them with one E-Tank and 2 reserves, because you would have to stop and manually refill too many times.
Yeah, and ooh, Pete's pointing out a good point. Grav is still out of logic.
Yeah, we need space. That was found at the early supers location, so we need speed booster to get that in logic.
Which does actually mean that it could be in the front of Gauntlet.
It could also be at the moat.
Or at Wreck Ship, but you're pretty low in health there.
Or Upper Red Tower, because we haven't seen anything up there yet, and you could get there from the ship fairly easy.
Yeah, wait, criteria power bombs?
No, Alpha PB, sorry.
Oh yeah, that too.
The upper part of Red Tower.
Yeah, and Link manages to get the Kraid quick kill as well, so Kraid's not going to prom.
Unfortunately. Everyone deserves to go to a dance if they want to. So it looks like the Main Street and Krebs super items are just ammo. Looks like we're going to get to see Mama Turtle area check here in a moment.
Let's see, is Mama T gonna have the goods this time? Because it had Varia last race.
Link getting disappointed with the ammo in the Kraid E-Tank location, sometimes known as the Frog Pocket.
Oh, and Mama T with nothing, both missile packs. And I actually like that name, Frog Pocket. That's a lot better than just calling it Kraid E-Tank.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. I can't remember who or where I first heard it, but so let's see what else in Meridia is in logic, because there's
nothing.
Well, the sand pits, because you have space jump, you can get over to the sand pits, you can get to the watering hole, and
Well, I mean,
the
technically
beach.
nothing. Since you said logically.
Well, that's fair.
Grav is still out of logic, so yeah, but yeah, Sandspits and Fake Wall and Beach, I believe, is all. Or Beach and Watering Hole.
Yeah, I was trying to think of more of what game could access.
Yeah, so the fact that they're checking Meridia before Wreck Ship, it's gonna put a damper on things, is because it could very well not have anything.
And here is a good example of what I was talking about a moment ago, where I haven't really wrapped my head around thinking of where item locations can be based on logic. Oh, spring ball found at the beach. Or
Well,
is
with
this the
Spring
watering hole?
Ball, that puts left Meridia Sandpit in logic. Granted, I'm not completely certain on if that also requires high jump, because I could never get up there with just Spring.
I've been able to do it without spring ball, but having to do the Alcatraz style wall jump, and if you fail it, it's really tight window to not fall down and have to reset.
Well, actually, now that I've mentioned that, I think that is considered a normal wall jump in a midair morph, so maybe that is in logic without it. Because, yeah, that's how I do it. I never do it with just Spring Ball. I always forget that, you're supposed to have Spring Ball for it.
So it looks like Link is making the same routing choice as Game here, going to check some of the items in Meridia instead of going out and going up to the top of Red Tower and maybe check Gauntlet or Wreck Ship.
Well, at that point, that's where their progression has to be, so it's interesting to see them do this. And oh, I know what Game was doing there, checking that item to know what it was, and potentially do a snail clip there. Because that's about the only reason you'd want to check that item if you can't get in there.
Well, the knowledge, even though there's still another item up there hidden, the knowledge of that is useful. Are we about to see a Crystal Flash clip to Botwoon?
With Ice Beam?
Oh, he does have ice. Sorry. I haven't seen it. Like, it's on the tracker, but I wasn't seeing his beam has an ice beam, and so I was thinking that he didn't have it.
Yeah, that I've done. I was like, wait, he doesn't have ice, and then they do it. I was like, why are they doing a Crystal Flash clip? And then they turn on the ice beam. I'm like, oh. But no, that would have been interesting to see. I'm sure Game has that knowledge under his belt.
I wouldn't be surprised. We've seen a few runners do that in this tournament.
Have we? I don't think I've actually seen anyone do it yet.
No, Freya's Spirit did it in their race a few days ago.
Oh, of course, I know Freya's knows their tech.
And there was someone else that we saw do it, and it was like first try too. I think it might have been in the exhibition match, now that I think about it.
I think that was Andrew, if anybody. Andrew or Sloters.
I wouldn't have been surprised to see anyone in the exhibition match do it.
Yeah, all of them know their tech.
We are still hunting for progression, and Link is still following right behind Game's footsteps and checks.
However, because Game is going to go ahead and kill Dragon, it seems, Link might find his items and leave.
Well, I'm not sure what Link would find that Game hasn't checked other than maybe one of the sandpits, because we saw a save and I expected Game to go into the sandpits, but it didn't look like he did.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting as well. That's why I was kind of confused. But, I mean, going in and getting the shrimp out of the way, the only reason I would do that is if you plan on going Forgotten Highway.
Well, just being here, being that close, and having the tools to do it, I probably would do it myself too.
Which, yeah, I think I would agree actually, now that I realize.
On
He's
2
gonna do the
E-Tanks, it's
shrimp
gonna be...
first.
Yeah, on 2 E-Tanks, that's a little risky, I would think, but Game is definitely...
Supers, though?
That's a fair point.
Like, no quick kill, but you can pepper him. But he's gonna be able to go to left sandpit, or check right, and, if he finds grapple, he would probably, or well, if he knows his ice clip, he would probably just go ahead and check shack, even though nobody wants to check shack. But when he heads through left, he'll just wrap that through to plasma as well. And then head out through Forgotten Highway if he so chooses. Speaking
there
of...
is grappling beam. So we're seeing Link make a save. Is he gonna go up to Botwoon right at like Game did? No, it looks like he's gonna go check a sandpit. checking left first, I would agree with that call, because just in case, without speed booster, it's really easy to get caught in the sand there. And if you go down the right wood first, then reset, you could possibly get caught and not make it over to the left sand pit. Looks like an E-tank, and what else is there? I couldn't see the other item.
A reserve, almost in the correct spot. Whoa, this might be trouble. I don't think Game can actually do the grapple kill. I'm not so certain how much health the sparks do without Varia.
I know with
Oh,
full suit stuff, it's about a full E-tank, I think, from the moment that you grapple.
oh, trying to get the quick kill. Oh, but if he takes any more spanks, it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, at this point, I wouldn't risk it. Unless maybe if you can get a quick setup and then do a little bit, because a small amount of health damage to you is a large amount to Dragon with the grapple. But he didn't get it, so he's back to doing ammo, it looks like.
Oh no, Link finding absolutely nothing in the pit. Oh no, looks like Game's getting a little frustrated.
Good call to use up your reserves. But it looks like after checking the sand pits, Link is making the same call the game has of going ahead and finishing out Meridia while you're here.
And the shrimp is down. Wow, Link, having found nothing in the sand pits, is now going to make his way to 2 Dragon himself. So we have 2 more locations for items to be. Make that 1.
Well, Plasma and Check Tool. No one has checked either of those, and Game does have Grapple Beam. So, and Space Jump. So that puts Check Tool in logic.
Yeah, I'm quite amused that both of these runners have been kept pretty close together, both going the same ways, aside from the one little route divergence.
Yeah, and that bit of route divergence at the beginning is really the only time difference between them. So it looks like Game is ahead, and he probably is, ahead, but it's only by a few rooms at this point. Because Link already has the knowledge about the sand pits.
Yeah, so Link might be a little ahead. Also looking like they're in a high five here as Link goes down and... Or Link goes up to Dragon while Game goes down the sand pits. Which might be a faster play in terms of how they got there, but it still just leaves Wreck Ship and Gauntlet with progression. And potentially Shack Tool, even if it's out of logic progression.
I just realized about the plasma room. They don't actually have anything that would let them kill the pirates. No, never mind. They do have plasma. I was thinking. I don't know what I was thinking.
I always forget that myself, but another thing, not many people know that you can actually kill them with just charge beam. Or, well, pseudo-screwing.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anyone's found charge, though. So they wouldn't be able to do that. We were thinking about screw attack because it's the plasma room, so we were thinking, well, it's where you normally find it. So Game found the left sand pit items and immediately reset.
Not sure I would agree with that, but I mean, going through right to go check Shack, maybe.
Link going into Dragon.
With very limited ammo, looks like they're just gonna immediately do the grapple kill.
19 supers is still more than enough for Dragon. I
Actually,
believe.
is one short.
Well, I believe in the in his practice, or it might have been in his any percent that we were watching before this race. He did an ammo kill, and with I think 11 or 12 supers at the start.
Well, as I've come to find out, it actually takes 20 supers.
That's good to know. I mean, he did use regular missiles, but the max number of supers he had was lower than what he has now, so he should be good. He's got a lot more ammo than he needs. And we are seeing a Shack tool check from Gameaholic.
Probably going to reset, go back through left if he wants the E-tank, and the shrimp is down. But maybe he's gonna take whatever's at Shack and then head on through to check Plasma and go to wreck ship. Yeah, Shack tool check pizza, you actually get to market today.
Pete's doing a good job on tracking. I always forget to check the bosses off.
The only boss I always forget is actually Dragon. Like, one of the longest cutscenes aside from Fantoon, but that's the one I forget the most.
And the
Ooh.
spring ball location is disappointing.
Yeah, but he's choosing not to reset, which I guess it might not be faster to reset because you do have to go through the Evers anyway, whichever way you just. And they hurt, so you gotta be careful.
If the Shack tool room leaving the Shack tool / spring ball area took just as long as entering, the reset would no doubt be faster. But you don't have to wait for Shack tool to clear off the sand when you go back the opposite direction. Looks like we're going to get to see a plasma check from games, so that will be all of Meridia items checked, I believe.
Well, he's not the only one. We've got Link coming in from the other side as well.
Yeah, coming through the Cact Alley. Now, Link went down through the sand pits before going to Dragon, so the only thing that he would have left to check, I believe, is Shack tool.
Yeah, but I would assume he's skipping it to go straight to wreck ship first because more checks over Shack, probably a right decision.
Right. Greater item density, they don't take nearly as much time.
Also, it's slowly looking like Varia is going to be elsewhere. Huh,
And screw attack at Plasma.
That's interesting. Not exactly progression, I think. Just free Fantoon kill, I guess.
Well, with having power bombs, I think there's not any blocks that screw attack will break that power bombs won't. So I think you're right on the progression front there. But it will make a chargeless Fantoon a lot safer. With Fantoon, those fireballs or Fantoon's body, they do. I'm not sure how much with just gravity, but when you don't have any suits, it's 40. So with the A suit, it's probably 20. I know it is with Varia. I'm not sure with just gravity. But only having 2 E-tanks at this point, you're likely to take a few hits. However, if you accidentally super Phantoon a bit early and enrage, those fireballs can be really hard to dodge, and you'll take many hits. However, now that they have screw attack, if that happens to be the case, they'll be able to just spin jump and not take any damage from these flames. Yeah, the game is really close right now, and it doesn't look like Link is planning to check Shack Tool.
Yeah, just that. Oh. Well, we spoke too soon. Oh, or not. He's gonna do screw attack strats to this room, but when he get a running start.
Yeah, these Poplars, who's also one of the racers in this tournament, they like to call these sand hall rooms the anxiety halls. And watching Link struggle in the sand, you can see why. The sand physics are really frustrating. So it looks like Game is going out to the top of Red Tower, which is a good play.
Well, Link is gonna do a gate glitch. Oh, second try.
Nice.
He's slowly making some time on Gameaholic right now, actually.
Yeah, not checking Shack Tool is definitely gonna make a nice jump of time on him. And let's see, super missiles. I didn't see the first item in the Alpha PB's room.
Alpha, PBs, just as I'd
Vanilla.
expect. That just puts 2 items left to check, aside from Gauntlet.
Yeah, we'll have the beta PBs, we have the moat, and we have Gauntlet. And all of these are in logic.
Hoping for speed somewhere early on, so we know that now it's in logic. Well, they're not there.
Beta PBs, disappointment.
Oh,
Link skipping those checks. Oh,
not a
that's
bad
a gamble.
play.
Yeah, I don't like. We know because we've seen those items that that's a really good move, but it is a gamble.
Well, no, I mean in general, actually. Skipping those items for after Phantoon? That's what you would rather do, because then you already have the items you're looking for. And if you don't, you just have to check that. So I can imagine this being his decision to do it after Phantoon is really good.
So we're getting a bit of divergence again here, and the mode is just supers. That means the progression has to be at Gauntlet.
Well, progression can be over in Wreck Ship, because you only needed Space Jump to get over here.
That's a fair point.
Which is why I always hate getting it early, because I always forget that, oh hey, this is also in logic.
Yeah, being able to read the logic and know where your progression can and can't be is really handy in these type of seeds.
And we're going through the pointy room of life, and there's our speed.
Speed booster. There we go.
No.
So various suit at Gauntlet. I have seen that twice in my own races. So, oh,
That's
and
just bad.
yeah, I imagine Game's gonna rush into Phantoon now.
He might rush Ripley in this case.
I would go to Wreck Ship just because you're already closer to that than you are anything else. But other than a few E-tanks, I think that puts us really close to Go mode. Each person has their own standards for Go mode, but with both of these runners seem really skilled, so I imagine once they have the E-tanks and the ammo, they'll think about it as go mode. Maybe with checking for a few things like charge. But Link, of course, still has to find his various suit at Gauntlet before that.
Which, since he won't find his suit over in Rick's ship, he will find it probably after bowling.
So we're really close to having 2 Phantoon fights on screen at the same time if Link doesn't finish this round. Okay. That was a good Doppler effort. But it looks like we are going to have 2 Phantoons at the same time. One's going to be dying, the other one's going to be coming to life.
Well, since the ghost is going to be disappearing from Link's side and reappearing on Game's side.
Can you kill a ghost? But that is some pretty neat timing with him disappearing on Link's, only to reappear on Games.
Yeah, Phantoon resurrected though, like just as a ghost should.
So we're getting a left supers check before the right side. And
if you
it's
place a
regular
power
missiles.
bomb on before you're going, it's probably best to check your right one.
Yeah, we primarily like to run Hundo out of the vanilla categories. There's that Phantoon Enrage, and if I am game, if I was in this position as Gameaholic, I would be very grateful to have Screw Attack.
Having that or charge is always nice here.
And right side supers is a vanilla super missile.
Which if I'm Link, I'm very grateful to see. Because I only have 55.
Yeah, he doesn't quite yet have enough ammo to do the Mother Brain series of fights without charge.
Might have went for the double missile and or 4 missiles and a super strat. Not a bad decision, honestly.
Well, knowing that you have protection against those enrage flames, if you're willing to lose that enrage time, which without charge and depending on what you have might be worth the time to make sure you do it faster, because Dopplers can be a really difficult thing to do very efficiently, and some of these top runners you see do them make it look so easy.
Oh, and Link doing some deboost strats through, and yet I'm not that efficient at Dopplers myself.
Yeah, so if you do the 2 missiles, and then a super missile to enrage, and then you do 1 attempt at Dopplers, and then you do that 2 reds plus another 2 reds into a super missile, that's pretty much a guaranteed Phantoon done in 3 rounds with the 1 enrage. Link resetting after finding the wreck ship E-tank location holding just regular missiles, and that is a very good call. I usually forget to save before checking that. And it looks like Game is skipping out on the other wreck ship checks.
Well, there's nothing else he'd want now, actually. He's already in go mode complete.
Yeah, hopefully we'll find a few more E-tanks along the way, though. I think he does need a few E-tanks to be able to survive the Rainbow Beam. Link, however, is going through the attic, no doubt hoping to find Varia. Checking the right side attic, the robot room. Checking the robot room yields disappointing results again. Just regular missiles.
Yeah, the longer Link stays in Wreck Ship, the more time he wastes doing things.
You know, if I have Speed Booster by the time I get to this part that Link's at, I think I'd rather just go ahead and not check by going in through that door, but just because I'm gonna, if I'm him, I'm gonna check the missiles that the Chozo is holding underneath that reserve location. And so I think it would be just faster to go ahead and spark up after that to check it. But I have seen people, after checking that, make the play to not go through bowling and instead go through the crumble block over by that above ocean missile check. I don't think we've seen an ocean check from either of these runners either. Game was checking the Bubble Mountain item there.
Looked like Wave Beam to me and deciding to skip it.
Ooh, Smokey would be disappointed in you, game.
Yeah, we gotta have that Wave Beam.
Link getting a moment to stretch, pop your knuckles if you need to, get a drink of water before checking the other items down here.
I mean, if you don't know every single clip possible with Ice Beam, you probably won't Wave just for Zeb Skip.
I would have certainly went and grabbed it.
But if you know you just gotta go down there and hold angle L or up and down at the same time to shoot straight up, you might as well take it.
There is Spazer at the gravity location.
So a wreck ship.
Still had some good ammo, but no progression worth grabbing. Well, no progression at all, actually.
Now we do.
No, speed booster was in there. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that does put gravity in logic, but I gotta say. Oh, and Mr. Gibb pointing out what Gabe commented in chat. Sorry, Smokey. At least he recognizes his error.
So it looks like Link is making his way over to Gauntlet, and making this check so much after game, and game skipping out on all of the wreck ship checks has really given game the advantage here.
That, and also, due to Game knowing RBO, he's used to low health Ridley fights and whatnot. So, while Gameaholic's just gonna rush to Ridley, Link might stop through Bubble Mountain to pick up E-tanks along the way.
If I remember, they have 2 reserve tanks, both of them, so that means that he's effectively at 4 tanks for this Ridley fight. Which is a pretty safe bet for anyone of Game's skills.
Oh, hi, Jump.
That would have been nice to find before coming down here.
And why did I have a feeling that it was down here?
What definitely would not pass that up.
Oh, Link showing that Chozo statue, what for? Yeah, he just killed one of the grabbers for no reason. Oh, Gameaholic just too close to the space pirate to do the speed kill on that first one.
But we get that wonderful Samus echo stuck on screen for a little while.
Yeah, I actually learned that speed kill just recently due to Game. He happened to be in my chat when I was there, and I was like, you know what, I'll go ahead and learn it right now. Because I knew he knew how to do it, and he gave me the few tips needed to do it, and I was like, oh, it's something like this. Managed to get the second one, I was like, well, now I can do that in a run.
The Super Metroid community is really great about sharing knowledge and helping learn tricks, either from chat or people doing runs. A lot of the times when I was learning, they would offer to show me things in between runs, and that was really helpful. And that makes this community really welcoming and really open, we feel like.
Yeah, a lot of the communities I've been with have done that, but there are some that don't. Like, the two that have done that for me mainly are the two games I started with, which is Super Metroid and Link to the Past.
I had a small foray into speedrunning Rabby Ribby, and that community was really helpful too. Unfortunately, Link did not get to do a moonfall. I love that moonfall when you're going down Red Tower with Screw Attack. I
Just
don't
do a
think he
moon dancing clip all the way through.
I don't think he has Moonwalk on though.
Yeah, I don't think he's put that much skill under his belt. Like, it can be extremely simple to learn.
Well,
Like, it's just really, you gotta put on the moonwalk and then you gotta get used to all the bosses. Like, I still can't do.
so I looked away from game screen for a few moments, and it looks like I missed the Ridley fight entirely.
Yeah, no, he just peppered him with supers and left. Not even gonna give him the time of day with the item. But it was a pretty clean fight. He still has E left over.
Yeah.
Oh, and he tried for that stutter 3 tap.
Sorry, I missed it. Oh, Link is checking ice. Did we see Game make that? No, I don't think we've seen anyone make this check yet.
Well, with the fact that the second E-Tank was until, like, just before getting or right after killing Blatwoon, I'm not so certain anybody would have went back down to go do hell runs.
Yeah, that's a very good point, and it's just power bombs, which isn't surprising at this point.
And
I
there's a
think
third E-Tank.
other than regular bombs, and I think the only thing we haven't seen are the various beams, like charge beam and bombs. That's it.
Yep, just down to that, and Gameaholic is now actually in go mode finally. Due to health concerns, and that, well, apparently all the E-Tanks in Lower Norfair.
Yeah, looks like he's got a little bit of extra ammo to spare, and a little bit of health to spare. But I'm pretty sure that with his skill set, he'll be able to pull this off.
Oh, and he gets the Mock Ball too. It's probably my favorite Lower Norfair escape Mock Balls.
Link was checking the crumble shaft missiles and then using that pathway to just go ahead and make his way to Lower Norfair.
Oh, where did
Stopping by
Link
the Nutella.
E-Tank? Was there one at Croc Escape, I think?
I think it was in the crumble shaft, but I might be mistaken, because if he got it there, he might not have needed the refill.
He might have just did it for Nutella Shadow.
Sometimes you just run off the edge and fall into that refill without meaning to. Pete confirming that it was Crumble Shaft. Thanks, Pizza.
Yeah, we need a new name for that missile, like Below Ice or Crumble Shaft. Those are what we've always called it.
I've always known it as Crumble Shaft. And I feel like that's a very accurate description, because nowhere else in the game do you have a vertical room with so many crumble blocks in your way.
I mean, the only room similar in annoyance is Left Sand Pit. Those are the only two places you'd ever use it. Or be intended to use Spring for it.
So game is definitely showing that he feels like he's in go mode with just rushing through now, taking the optimal path through Meridia to get back up topside.
Crumble Shaft of Annoyance.
I'm definitely gonna have to make some updates to the map tracker I've made, because I've heard a lot more unique room names than I've through this community than I have before. Such
I
as
think that's because of Smokey. Because I've heard some of hers, and I'm like, I have never heard these names before, but they fit so well.
like Ron Popeil was one. I've always just called it behind Burnstar Reserves, which is, accurate, but it's not very creative.
I mean, it used to be just Billy Mays 2 for me, because I really couldn't think of a name for it, and that's basically what Ron Popeil is.
So now we just need the ShamWow location somewhere.
That'd be great. Maybe we should rename the watering hole that.
Link working through the Key Hunter shaft here. I would be tempted to make a save just because of a 3 tank Ridley fight is risky. And it
Well,
looks
based
like
on
Link
what...
has the same idea.
Yeah, when we rated Link before this, he did mention that he needed to work on his Ridley fight, and he had like, what, 60 tanks going down there to fight him? So I could imagine if he was feeling a little weary about a 3 tank fight.
Gotta be cautious with your ammo counts here based on what the Metroids drop. They have been known to be very stingy with the supers.
Yeah, but I'm less inclined to use missiles on them, even though you do get missile refill.
Well, by the time you get to room 4, if you need to, you can just kill 2 of them, get their drops, and reset the room.
And would that reset all the Metroids?
If you do not kill all of the Metroids in a room, it resets that room. But, see, he's killed all 3 of them now. So if he wanted to try to farm them, he can't. He's out of luck. They just won't respawn ever. But if you kill 2 of them and leave the room and then come back in, all 3 are back.
That's something I never knew. That's very interesting.
It's really, really important to know, especially in any percent, when you come through with just enough ammo. It's also, really important here because you don't have charge, so every missile might make a difference. And Link showing us why the grapple beam is also sometimes called the farming beam. Farming these bugs in the pre-Ridley room are very difficult if you don't have grapple.
I wouldn't say difficult, I think it's just more so slow. Because as opposed to killing one at a time, you have to jump up, Let them come
Well,
up to you, and then you kill both at the same time to get both their
maybe
dreams.
annoying is a more appropriate word than difficult, because if you don't have them showing up in the right timing order, it gets off, and you'll end up having a difficult time not taking hits to get everything.
Right, but you can also do the lazy strat, which is something I have done a few times, which is use space jump and screw and do a stationary spin jump. But even then, you still have to time your jump, so you don't end up
Yeah,
jumping over them. Ooh, and Gameaholic turning off plasma before going down to the ice cliff. This means you won't have to crouch.
I'm not as familiar with the non-wave ice clips as I need to be.
Well, the only one that I know of is the fact that if you just have ice and plasma, if you turn off plasma, you don't have to crouch. That's just the main difference. And he gets it first try, though.
Clearly not his first time doing the trick, I mean.
Yeah, there are just so many different clips that you can do with it. Like, me, I personally do the spin strat, while I know Link does the down back strat, which I have never seen anyone ever do before.
I've
To be
seen some
perfect,
people in this tournament do it, I think.
like me and Jay, we do the spin jump strat.
So Link starting his Ridley fight off and Ridley being a jerk. Big surprise. Oh, that tail and the pogo. He's already lost a full E-tank. Meanwhile, Game is finishing up Mother Brain. Mother Brain 2.
Yeah, the thing about Ridley for me is that I'm never worried about taking hits from him. Like, almost every other match I've done against Ridley, I'm usually at like 0 E, and people are like, oh, that Ridley fight was clutch. I was like, wait, I'm at low health. I never actually notice until I'm leaving the room. I'm like, oh, I'm at like 2 health. How did I survive that?
Being someone who runs Hundo, I'm used to having, a lot of E-tanks at this point and not having to worry about it. So in places like in Rando where I come through with 3 or 4, I definitely try to watch my energy a bit. And if we didn't see it, Gameaholic was actually using the tickle beam to give Mother Brain a few tickles there bef- just before she fired the rainbow beam. Looks like Pete is really close on his Ridley fight. It's almost over. Oh, oh no, he's taken a few hits and it's really close.
Oh no.
Ouch.
I don't think Ridley was even dead yet.
It was very close though. Just a few more hits if he wasn't already dead. Chat is pressing F to pay their respects, it appears. And this is match 2 for these two, so unless something really big happens here, Gameaholic is going to take the round win and advance, knocking Link down into the alternative bracket.
Yes, the redemption bracket. Or alternative winners bracket, as I was originally calling.
Yeah, we've got a lot of different names floating around for it just for fun.
Yeah, no, I just don't like calling it the losers bracket, even though it really is just another bracket, honestly. Like, it's just
Yeah,
top and bottom.
the redemption bracket's probably one of the best I've heard. And
Yeah, same at Mithra. It's only the loser bracket is because I just called it that. That was my decision. I was like, I don't know what to call it, and the only thing that really would make sense right now is you lose a round, you're now into the second bracket.
Pretty sure my next opponent is going to send me down to that bracket.
Well, you might see me there, I'm already there.
I'll have to take a look later and see who I might be facing. Game is skipping out on saving the animals, and honestly, when you aren't sure where your opponent is, I can't blame him. So I'm in the SRL chat, but I'm not seeing anything that I get. Oh, never mind. It is there. Looks like Gameaholic finished with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 47 seconds. GG. Now, in most of these Restream races, we tend to invite people in after their run is over for an interview. Do you know if we're going to be pulling Gameaholic in for an interview, Dark?
I am actually asking him now. We will see if he comes into the green room.
Link is farming up for his second attempt at Ridley. You can do it, Link.
Yeah, I gotta admit, the worst fight for me is not Ridley, but he's my second worst compared to Batwoon. I hate that stupid snack.
The snake in the tip boxes. I love having Charged Plasma for Batwoon because of that. Link getting a really good early start on Ridley this time.
Yeah, just pepper him with supers.
Yeah, and the first time, Ridley did a little bit of a troll move, changing his pattern very early and throwing Link off on that, on reading it.
Ridley's basically dead now. Very good fight.
Looks like he's trying to do the pickup animation. Link just being Link saying, "No, you will not pick me up." Peppering him in the face with more missiles.
Oh, he even got the super kill. That's how mad he was.
And Ridley was holding X-Ray. Would have liked to have that with Charge by now, but at this point, it's not really useful unless you plan to go for stand-up glitch, and they don't have the E-tanks for that.
I didn't actually catch that, Nia Terrific.
Oh, I was so interested in Link's Ridley fight, I didn't check the credits.
Yeah, as was I.
So I will pull up the bracket actually, and we'll see who Gameaholic is advancing to face.
Speaking of Gameaholic, here he is. Welcome in,
GG.
GG.
Hey, thanks.
That two tank Ridley area.
Yeah.
That
Pretty
is
light.
true.
Yeah, pretty light in E-tanks for this for the seed.
Yeah, they were withholding them in lower Norfair.
Yeah. And I was on way in go mode before then, so there's no reason for me to check the rest of it. So I just ended up checking the free items, mostly to get an extra super or an E-tank got along the way. Just, but I guess kind of wish I checked Gauntlet sooner. Although I think uh, the first time I could have gone there, I only had 5 power bombs, and
Yes.
once you find gravity, things tend to open up a lot more, and it becomes, I guess, a lot harder route, and probably didn't route the best since I spent a good time in Meridia down there. At least I got all the miners, so it wasn't too bad, I guess.
Well, Link actually made a lot of the same routing choices you made.
Oh,
Early on, you went back after getting power bombs. You went back down to check the old Mother Brain and the Climb Supers locations,
yeah.
and that was something that Link didn't do. But then from there on, he was right on your heels for all through Meridia.
Oh,
And
wow.
where you split was when you checked Gauntlet earlier than he did. He went through X ship first.
Oh, yeah. I knew I needed to check Varian. Rex ship was going to take a while to farm, so I figured I may as well check the other two. And if they're various, then that would cut a lot of time in Rex ship, and I would have just lost a minute. It would. I figured it was worth a minute worth of checking, which it definitely did.
Yeah, it turned out to be the right call, and because of that, you were able to skip out on a lot of the upper half of Rex ship checks
Uh,
and save yourself a lot of time.
uh, so pretty much the way I route, I just try to figure out if I find this, then can I skip this much? And I wish I could have done that when I was thinking about Meridia, but I was already close there, and gravity just makes things so much harder to route because rather than restricting your options, it actually opens up so much more.
I believe when you got gravity, actually getting it was out of logic for this tournament, because you used the mock ball, which isn't part of logic to get there in the early supers location.
That's what I knew, and I kept that in mind. So based on that, I just assumed that since North, that's why I also checked Norfair early just to see if there's anything down there like Vario speed, and if there wasn't, then I knew that speed booster was up in Rex ship or Gauntlet, pretty much other than upper criteria or Rex ship. And so because of that, I figured, well, if Rex ship had speed booster, then Meridia could still potentially have Varia.
See,
of course, it could have been stack ship too, but
yeah, at that point you were looking for speed for gravity and logic, so obviously it wouldn't be in Meridia though. But Varia could have very well been there, so it was more so, do I check items or do I check progression that's logical?
Yeah, sorry, what I meant was, since speed, I knew speed couldn't be in Meridia, but that still didn't op Varia out of Meridia.
Yeah, which is, you routed it about the same as I would as well, because more intensity of checks and you can go ahead and kill the shroom.
Yeah, I figured Norfair still was a safe check since if Varia was there, then that would have given me a sick routing, and because I know it couldn't be in any of the heated rooms.
So on the stream right now, Link is making his way up the Red Tower elevator into Criteria. And to answer chat's question, he doesn't have enough ammo. He does need to get more, but he knows that the back of Gauntlet has a Meridia special, which is 1 missile and 1 super missile, and that will give him plenty of ammo. He'll have a few to spare.
Did anyone see what Volcano was? Sorry.
Yeah, I believe Link checked that, and it was just regular missile.
Okay, because if that had power bombs, that would have allowed me to do an early gauntlet, but that's something I forgot to route early on.
And looking like Link is going to go to the back gauntlet for his missiles, and actually I think it was power bombs. Because it's been pretty power bomb heavy.
I remember that Link reset when he saw it.
I believe he was at like 15 power bombs at that point, so probably was because of that.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Usually only want like 20 or 15 just in case you have to do Iceless Turian.
Now, when you got into Boba Mountain and you checked the you checked the missile there and saw it was wave beam. We saw in the SRL chat, "Sorry, Smokey."
Yep.
I think it'll put you a little bit at ease to know that we haven't seen Smokey in chat.
Oh,
That
good.
doesn't mean that she's not there, but we haven't seen her.
Well, hopefully she doesn't see that, since I don't think she'll be happy.
Yeah. And her commentary on my first match, I forgot I had wave beam at the wave gate, and in the commentary she was talking about how disappointed she was.
Oh man, I'm pretty sure I've done that before too, where I'm so used to doing the wave gate glitch that I just end up doing it even if they're at gravity. Same with the early supers room. Pretty sure I've done mock boss there when I'd had speed.
Is there any point in this seed that really sticks out to you that you're really happy with more so than the rest of it?
I don't know. I guess just I just felt it's hard to say, since that whole seed felt a little slop for me. Like double raging Pantoon, a super sloppy Dragon. It's been a while since I've done just using ammo on Dragon, since I actually, just because I kept up. I don't know. I guess mainly Ridley, because he felt super clean. I didn't need to farm health for that. I figured I may as well do safe since I'm that far ahead. I figured I was doing okay since gravity opens up, and unless Link routed perfectly, I assume that he also did murder, since that's what most of the league runners would do, and because he's familiar with the ice clips and the other strats too.
No, I actually missed your Ridley fight. I was watching Link do something, and I forget what it was at the time. I looked back over at your side of the screen and realized you were leaving Ridley. It's like, so clearly that fight did go well, because I missed it with just glancing away for a moment.
I'll take that. I guess it just went super fast, just because, well, that's what happens when you have tons of supers and get some decent patterns. But I just can't believe I enraged Pantoon once. The first one was like I actually selected my items twice and went to supers instead of regular. And the second one, I was just one missile away from killing him.
At least you had a screw attack at the time, because that makes it very easy to avoid the flames that Pantoon speaks out.
Oh yeah.
And also, since you were so low on E-tanks, that could have been very hurtful if you didn't have the screw attack.
Speaking of screw attack, that was something if I think logically I probably should have reset after getting that, just because getting around Sandpit does take some time, but it is my favorite item in the game, and I don't want to leave the game without it.
I don't blame you. It makes lower nerfers so much more safer.
Yeah. If I didn't have Plasma Black, well, I would have taken it for sure, but it's a lot easier with Plasma, but even so, screw attack is just so nice to have.
Yeah, how about that high jump boots?
So random, just hiding back at Power Bomb's a shame.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting anybody to pick them up if they're that late, but it can help a little bit with the escape.
Yeah.
Definitely worth the 7 seconds to pick it up.
Oh
now,
yeah.
If it were in the jail location, I would think about it. But
yeah, I'd skip it there too.
Link is going into his Metroid Room 4 here, but he's being really cautious with the small amount of health. So anytime he gets grabbed, because no one has found regular bombs. We haven't seen them on screen yet. So he doesn't have a way to get these Metroids off. And they are draining health pretty quickly. He's down to 2 E-tanks. Oh, let's see. In the bracket, it doesn't look like we know who you'll be facing yet, game. But this does make your second win and advances you to round 3, and it will be BF Robber versus, I think, Antinomy.
Yeah, you got Sephiroth on your list.
and
So,
and it's whoever wins against that goes to face swap, and then
well,
whoever wins that goes to face you. So it does look like you're going to be facing Antinomy most likely.
yeah, nothing
I,
gets BF Robert, but Seffi is just a monster at this.
yeah, uh, Antinomy is a highly skilled player.
Just to give
So
you perspective, in the rental league that we face, I had the best routing, and Seffi made the worst routing, and he still beat me by about 5 minutes.
it's it's just that movement skill alone.
Yeah,
They can make like people with that sort of movement skill. They can make big routing mistakes, but because they have such clean movement skills, and not just like the ones you would expect to see for what they run most, like any percent, uh, but in lots of different ways that I've never would think to use the movement items, and they do it on the fly in these randos. It's really impressive.
oh yeah.
And no offense out there intended to BF Robber or to swap space, but it I'm sorry, those matches are stacked and not in your favor.
Well, that's what a CD bracket's meant to be.
Yeah.
Although, wait, I think Seffi did forfeit, so technically I think BF was supposed to face an easier opponent, but
Oh,
I think
that is not reflected on the bracket, I don't
uh
think.
don't remember. But what's the seed rank? Because I could
Uh
have sworn that was the
oh
case with
yeah,
Seffi.
84.
Yeah.
And BF Robber was 45.
So I guess technically BF was supposed to be facing against someone who's, I guess, really, really low, and I guess unfortunately for him, Seffi just took a forfeit, which doesn't really help him out. I was wondering, like, because I guess when BF, I know he's a pretty decent runner, so I was wondering why he was facing against Seffi so early.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the name of BF Robber from not just Seffi's chat, but a lot of Super Metroid stuff in
Yeah.
general. And if I'm not mistaken, he ran in the last 80% tournament, or maybe it was the multi-category tournament.
I think he was there too, but I know he's definitely in the rental league since he's in the same group bracket as I am.
Since you guys were talking about it, I did find out who Link would be facing. It would be either between Beef Robber or Antinomy, or the loser of Swamp versus Swamp and whoever wins Antinomy or Beef Robber's match, along with whoever wins Captain Dapper versus Fusion Warrior. So it would be a little while before that decision comes up.
Oh, I didn't realize you could freeze that with just with plasma and ice.
You can freeze it with a lot of different beams, actually.
Because I thought you just had to have charge to do that with plasma and ice, but
Yeah, with most beams you can just shoot straight up.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, Dark was informing me because I'm not familiar with most of the ways to do it without ice, but with most beam combos, apparently, you can just duck under that and use both your angle buttons to aim straight up, while duck to hit it.
Okay, that's right. Because I stood because I know with regular ice you have to stand up and hold up. But I guess crouching facing up works with the other beam combos too. So good to know.
As Tillymore points out in chat, if it's plasma and ice that all you have, you have to crouch and shoot straight up.
All right, that's good to know. Oh, he's doing down back.
Yeah, he's the first person I've seen it do it. Seen it done that way.
Yeah, he was practicing it before the race, actually.
Nice.
And he put it best. It's one of those tricks where you either get it the first time or you get it after like 30.
That's something I really need to practice. Since as a screw tech lover, that would actually let me hang on to that.
Yeah, I'm the same way, except I end up doing the spring ball strat or bomb strat on the second Zev, just because I don't like turning off the screw attack.
Needing to reset there on Link's side because he took too much damage from the acid. He doesn't have a lot of health to play with. Depending on how many hits he takes to get the Zeb skip when he gets to Mother Brain, he's not going to be able to take very many hits from anything. There, he got it.
Ooh, nice.
Nice job.
Only taking 15-ish damage from getting over here. But now he's gotta be really careful. His ammo is like right at the bridge.
Yeah, the exact number that I think is ideal, at least in my opinion, is 36 reds. Use them all on Mother Brain, and then 60 supers for Mother Brain 2. And he doesn't quite have that many reds, but he had a few extra supers, which I think will give him a few extra supers of relay. Sorry, of a few extra supers to miss for comfort there.
Yeah, being an 80%
Oh no!
runner, you
Careful,
really
careful
know,
with your health.
you really know how to manage your ammo more consistently.
Okay, he's into the catch-up phase. He should be good to go from here. He took that onion ring to the face, and it looks like he might have taken 2 hits from it. I don't know, but he got knocked down a little bit. And oh no, what is he doing?
He has reserves.
Yeah, that's right.
But not enough.
Oh, just barely. Okay,
Oh,
yeah, he had
oh.
enough. He
I'm
knew
assuming-
what he was doing.
Yeah, I'm assuming he got the same reserves as the ones I found too, since I also held 2
Yeah.
at the end.
You both found 2 reserves before you
Yeah.
found a single E-tank.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, I'm just hoping that if I'm ever going to beat Seffi, it'll just hopefully while the suit is going to be up in Criteria Supers, because apparently that's like the trolley's place, and people tend to forget. So I'm just going to hope that's going to be there.
Well, that's mainly because suit restrictions is off on ours to make it a little more accessible, because it makes it so suits can be very early.
Yeah.
Which I think is throwing off most of the league runners because you guys have it on.
Yeah.
I've seen too many of these rat races where gravity has been in the climb super location, so I know to check it now as soon as I can.
Yeah.
And Varia, I've seen a few times at Gauntlet actually, and both of my races against Mr. 1982, Varia was there.
It was a shame that I just couldn't get an extra power bomb or just regular bomb, since I like doing early gauntlet checks.
Being someone who learned how to do randos off of the old Desi randos, you had to learn to make those early gauntlet checks. Sometimes with those Desi randos, you would have to make the gauntlet check without even having morph.
That's actually how I won most of my league races, just by doing gauntlet checks. Since apparently, like, they even without the suit restrictions, they can still hold stuff like speed or what was it, or an extra E-tank needed for hell runs. So I think gauntlets is like is always a free check, especially in the SMRAT where you get 2 more items. That could be anything too.
I think we saw both of you check the back end of Gauntlet, and so I was wondering, about how that was going to affect your decision on when you would check Gauntlet, since you knew the back end was just ammo.
Yeah, it was just gonna be like a last priority thing, and getting gravity then made it any easier, since
that lava can be deadly, especially since no one was finding E-tanks at that point.
Yeah. I'm pretty comfortable with though is it early gauntlets with literal health. It just kind of can't really get out of it with only 5 power bombs.
Yeah. Link is making his way through the last few escape rooms here.
If anything scares me, it's the side hoppers. But I guess early gravity definitely made that easier.
wonder if Link will save the animals, because he's already seen your dot done, I assume, at this point. And so he knows that it's not going to cost him the race. And it looks like he's going down there. And will he save them? Or no, he is saving them. There's no taunting. We've seen some people taunt before, and I think Zosti in the exhibition race tried to taunt actually, but ended up messing up his taunt and having to save them. So it looks like Link has finished with an SRL time of 1 hour, 39 minutes, and 3 seconds. GG. So while we wait on Link to get back online and see if he wants an interview, I'm going to remind everyone to follow these runners, and they put on a good race here. You can find them doing Super Metroid. A lot of the times it seems like, especially of late with the Rando League and this tournament, lots of randos. And be sure to follow Darkrid here. He, not only co-commentating today, commentary in other places, he's sometimes restreaming, sometimes tracking, sometimes doing things behind the scenes. And he's also a runner in this tournament. So be sure to give him a follow too.
Thanks, Star. Don't forget to give Stars some love too.
Thank you. So I missed the credits when it came up on game screen because I was watching Link and his Ridley fight. And so so if we pay attention this time, we'll get to see where charge or bombs were. And it looks like Link has agreed to do an interview, so he'll be here shortly.
Speaking of, welcome Lincoln. GG.
GG, Link.
Yep,
Good games, Link.
yeah, GG to Gameaholic. Well-deserved win. Yeah, so my routing was perhaps very questionable.
Well, most of the game, you were right on Gameaholic's heels, doing the same checks. There was a few small divergences, such as Gameaholic going down to check old Mother Brain early, and also when you went to check the sand pits, Gameaholic went straight up to Bot Wound.
Did Gameaholic then do like hundo strats after Dragon, or did he just like piece out a Meridia?
I did everything. Shack Tool, sand pits, all that stuff, and was definitely just as disappointed.
Yeah.
Where the difference after Meridia happened was with Gauntlet, because Gameaholic, after going back up to Criteria, went straight to Gauntlet, whereas Link, you went over to wreck ship. And so by the time that Gameaholic realized, Gameaholic got Varia before going to wreck ship, and so he didn't have to check all of the upper half. He was basically in go mode at that point, minus an E-tank, I think, at the time. And so he just noped right out of the top half of wreck ship and went straight to Lower Warfare.
Yeah, that was probably because that was the thing. Because I basically had at that point when I was going to wreck ship 2 like criteria locations that I hadn't. Well, I guess one of them I couldn't have checked before wreck ship because that was the criteria supers, which I thought was fairly unlikely for that to have anything just because of the way that I think the randomization tends to work. But yeah, I was like, I had in the back of my mind that Gauntlet could be potential, but I was basically in my head, I was just thinking, I'm going for game progression at this point, so I want to just head right to the next boss And unfortunately for me, that was the wrong choice.
Yeah, I think that small divergence there, where Game was able to find Various a lot earlier than you, is what made the difference. Other than that, you were right on his heels a lot of in a lot of places.
Yeah. And taking the death to Ridley was also unfortunate.
Oh,
Yeah.
if I recall, I think there weren't that many E-tanks out here, so.
Yeah, because I think by the time I got to Ridley, I was like on 3 E-tanks and in 2 reserves. And it was just like, yeah, at the beginning, I'm like, I like saw like the reserve tanks. I'm like, well, I have 0 E-tanks, so I just gotta pick these up because this is gonna be another sparse seed as far as E-tanks go.
So, Dark Grid made sure to catch the spoiler log, and it shows that bombs were at Crocomire, so no one bothered checking anything with Crocomire, and oh, sorry, bombs were at Wave. Charge was at Crocomire. And another divergence that happened actually in Meridia was Gameaholic checked Shack Tool. I just realized that looking at the tracker. I forgot about that for a moment.
You didn't believe in Shack Tool?
Well, so yeah, it was basically like I don't know if you caught how annoyed I was when I found Grapple just before
Wow.
Dragon.
Yeah.
Because
Dark
I was
did notice
basically
that.
like, yeah, I was like, okay, so this puts Shack Tool in Logic, and I don't want Shack Tool in Logic. But at the end, I'm like, basically, my thought there was, I'm just like, I'm gonna put off Shack Tool, like, and check it as like the last resort if I don't find anything in Wrecked Ship or Gauntlet.
Well,
Just
that did save you time with that, since I think he had hamburgers.
Well, technically,
Yes.
you couldn't really check Shack and Logic because you guys didn't have speed, because speed blocked gravity.
yeah, I guess that is true. Because I mean, because at that point, I'm like, I was thinking, I guess, a few steps ahead in the logic where, like, assuming I had the speed booster, which I knew was most likely in Wrecked Ship by that point, I'm like that grapple could have been the next chain in the progression.
Because I think like technically very could still be at Shack Toll, because the logic will force you to go to Rexship first, then to Meridia, and Meridia, I mean, Rexship could still not have Varia, which definitely was the case here. But because it's really interesting once you try sequence breaks things, because there are things that's still possible even if you sequence break it. Because at least like the ones I try to keep in top of my head is that gravity can't be in lower interfere and Varia can't be in heated rooms. And I think those are the 2 big things. And I'm pretty sure with a bunch with other logics, like there are some things that can't be possible. But I believe like sequence breaking things doesn't necessarily keep items from other places, because it just
Right.
forces a longer route.
It's just, yeah, based on the logic, there's things that you can expect to find and things you can't find.
Yeah.
But sequence breaking, you can still find other types of progression items, just not the ones locked.
I still want to see a seed where like a hell room would be viable just because you end up getting an early gravity, and somehow that gets you an early Varia.
Well, I think the only place that is in logic in Upper Norfair without a hell run. Well,
oh wait, no, you can't have. No, wait, I just realized. I'm just trying to theory craft, since I believe if gravity is at Norfair, that would mean that Varia can't be in Meridia, because that would force a suitless Meridia. So, um,
Yeah, I know like one of the very early practice seeds I did have gravity in Norfair and like Varia and some like really bad location, so I did wind up hell running for my gravity suit. But yeah, I don't know, it's something that tends not to work out, but it's like if you have some very important item like at the Croc escape, like I think that's really the big one where it's like maybe it's worth hell running for that.
well, want to say again, both to you, GG. This was a fun race to watch, and good luck in the next brackets that you against your next opponents.
Thank you, and thanks for the commentaries and good games, Link.
Yep, GG to Gameaholic. I was definitely like I was pretty much expecting to go 0-2 in this series, just because you are definitely a much better runner than me. So, yeah. So GG, congrats on moving on, and yeah.
So
Oh, it's good games.
it looks like the next matches today are Kenny versus Jargabobble, which is in the losers bracket or the alternative bracket or redemption bracket, whatever you prefer. It's at 8 p.m. Eastern, and it looks like they have scheduled to go right into game 2 after. So we might see one of them take both wins, and we might see a 1-1 to force a game 3. Be sure to check that out later today. I'm not sure. It looks like Mithra is going to be handling the restream. I'm not sure if there's any commentary for the 8 o'clock yet. Definitely going to be an interesting race to watch. So I will go ahead and sign off and let you close up, Dark. And by saying thanks everyone for putting in their time and effort behind the scenes to make this thing happen and to get people in their races and ready to go. Thanks for the restreaming and whatnot, because I'm really enjoying this tournament. Not just the commentating, but also playing in it. And I hope to see everyone later.
Yeah, thanks for commentating, Stars.
I enjoyed it. Thanks, Dark, for having me.
No problem. And with that, thank you everyone else for stopping in. This was an amazing race between Link and Gameaholic, which really went to show that routing decisions can really change how it'll go.